Good afternoon. I'm Larry Hicks, and I'm here to talk to you at the first official IPICO Sports Lunch and Learn. We're going to talk about the dashboard application and the integrated test tag, give you an overview of both of those products. Um, so I'll give you a few minutes to a presentation, and then I'll open it up to, then I'll do a demonstration, then I'll open it up to some questions and answers. So the first, um, let me start by showing you the dashboard. This is the new dashboard and how it starts when it first opens up. Uh, you've got the space for the IP address here. Um, and unique tag counter over here. Down below it, you can reset the tag counter just by clicking the button. You can connect. Um, it shows you the computer time, and then when it's connected, it will show you the reader time. And you can set the time to match the computer and the reader time so that they're together. A little display here that shows you whether you're connected to a reader, and some menus that vary depending on the type of the reader that you're connected to. One of the new features that we added is the View Tags screen, which is accessible through this button. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And we also have the ability to add multiple devices. So up here you've got the plus button. You can add multiple tabs for additional readers. So if you have 3 or 4 readers that you want to connect to, you just simultaneously, you just click the plus and configure them by typing in the IP address. The dashboard application will automatically figure out what type of reader it is and give you the options affiliated or associated with that reader. One of the other abilities that you have here with these tabs is the ability, if you right-click while up here on this tab, you can close the individual tab, or you can connect to all the readers at the same time. So if you've got a preset set up with 4 or 5 readers and you want to connect to all your readers, you can just go up here and right-click and select Connect All, and all 5 readers, assuming they're physically connected and can be reached from your computer, all 5 readers will be connected to the dashboard. I am going to go to the next slide, kind of give you a brief overview of the key features. We've improved some of the time sync capabilities. We've improved the connection reliability. We've added multiple reader support, as I just mentioned. The unique tag counter now has the ability to be reset from the screen. Tag reads are now streamed into a database instead of to a cache file. So that gives us the ability to do some other things with it, and they're viewed in a searchable and somewhat readable tabular type format. Tag data can be filtered and sorted and then exported back out to a standard log file so that you can actually filter it and sort it and then create the standard log file that you can then import back into your scoring software. There's also, for the Elite Reader, there's transmitter tuning monitoring, and then we have reader names on tabs. The names on those tabs can be edited so that they can be meaningful to you, again by right-clicking that tab. And then we've also used extensively tooltips, which are those things that when you hover your mouse over an icon or a button, it will tell you a little bit about what that button does. So that gives you a little bit of self-documentation capability. So at this time, I will go into the demonstration portion of it on the dashboard application itself. So hang on just a minute, and I'll get set up to do that. In the meantime, I'm going to turn off my my camera, my webcam, so that you don't need to see me. Thanks. Okay. All right, so here we have the dashboard application. I can make it full screen. I can make it a more, visible or readable screen. I can move the screen around, etc. You can see I have two readers set up here, um, and I can add another one if I had another reader to connect to. I just click this button and it gives me that ability. If I right-click on this, I can close that tab. I can also change the name to this particular tab, and this is, I don't know, Elite. I can change that name. Yes, actually the Elite. I got it backwards. So live. There we go. So that is the light reader, and this one is the Elite reader. So I just go through and change that. So now I have a light and an Elite. And you can say this is the 5K split point or the 10K split point as well. You can just say this is 10K, for example, and this is the 5K, for example, or the finish, for example. Okay, so that gives you a couple of examples of things that you can do with that. You also have the ability to drop down, and this is not a feature yet implemented, or is a feature that's not yet implemented, but we'll have a history of the IP addresses that you've connected to in the past so that you can drop down and connect to those fairly quickly without typing them in, of some of the last few anyway. As I mentioned, or as in the previous versions of Dashboard, we had the ability to monitor the uptime and get a unique tag counter. I can now just on screen click the reset button and reset that tag counter. So if I want to scan a tag, that's on the wrong reader. If I wanted to, well, I'd have to connect too. If I wanted to scan a tag, I could change the unique tag counter and scan that tag. I also have the uptime value for that reader, the Elite reader in particular. I can also download the files by clicking the little icon there. I can select which files I want to download, and I can go over here and I can select where I want to place them through a browser window to decide where I want to locate those two. Once I've selected the location, let's just say it's in my home directory on my desktop here. I can say OK, and it will bring that in there. And I say download, and it will download those files directly from the Elite reader to my desktop, and then it will close the window. So now you see that I have added that file to my now I've added those files to my my desktop. Okay, so some of the other things that you can do with this, and I'll just go ahead and connect to these. By the way, if you have multiples of these, you may have noticed when I pull this down that you can connect to all of them. So I can either click the connect button, or I can click connect to all if I'm connected to all of them. So I can connect and disconnect from each individual reader, this being the light reader, as I wish. And as before, one of the key functions is the ability to set the time. One of the things that we're going to improve is that the reader time only reports every 30 seconds. So when I set the time, it'll take about 30 seconds for the reader time to update. so that it will, for that 30-second period, it will be off. And now you see it's fairly close. You'll also see down here that I'm connected. The transmitter status A and B is good, so I'm good to go there. You'll also notice that I can clear the reader history from a selection here. I can update the delta image, which actually just downloads the delta image to the reader. I can load a particular patch, and I can upload a GPRS certificate for use with our TimeLink VPN product. Likewise, I can view tags, which is the same as this icon over here, and I can save the tags as. So I can save my data as a particular type of file as well. I'm going to draw this down and select it, and you can see there that I can save the log files or the data file as a particular file name. And in this last one, I can roll up the window so that it's up and out of the way. I still see what the status is. And then I can also select that same little icon and roll it down again so I can make some adjustments. So that's the Elite Reader. When I go over here and select the Light Reader, I have the same ability. I'm connected. I have the ability to roll up or down. I have the ability to view tags and save tags as. And I have the ability on this particular one, because it doesn't have any onboard data storage, I have the ability to change the reader configuration, which is basically just a number, an ID number, that you can set uniquely to, say, 4. And you'll see how that's useful in a few minutes. And then I also have the ability to arm or disarm a first scene filter. For those of you that have used Elite Readers, know that it has the data filtered in a first scene, last scene format on port 10,200. The Light Reader has a similar function, not quite the same, but very similar, called a first scene filter that will just give you one read per tag. So even though the tag may be read multiple times, you'll only see it once on the data stream. Anyway, that can be useful if you're trying to minimize the amount of data storage or the amount of data being transmitted. So again, I am connected to both of these readers. I happen to be here with the Light Reader, so I have a unique tag. I've added that tag. Now you'll notice I've got that tag in the Light Reader, and so now I have 3 tags in my Light Reader database. And I'll go down here to my Elite Reader, and I will add some tags to that as well. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And all I'm doing is just, I have mats connected up to these readers. And so all I'm doing is just reaching over and connecting, scanning, swiping the tag over the mat. So now I can go to the View Tags screen, and the View Tags button is unique to each one of these tabs. So the 4 tags that I scanned, if you'll notice here, there were 4 tags on the Elite Reader that I scanned, and you'll notice there are 8 entries into this database. What we've done in that database is given you the first scene and the last scene in the database. So all the tag reads are scanned into the dashboard database, and you get the first scene and the last scene times for both of those. I can now go search for a particular decoder ID. Now this happens to be an Elite Reader, so the decoder ID is fixed. I'm connected to decoder ID number 1, but this tag ID is just a sequential numbering 1 through X, whatever the number is. I can also search for the text in the tag UID. So if I want to look for anything that has, let's say 95B in it, I can search for that just by typing 95B into that box and selecting apply, and it will filter out all the tags that end in 95B. So now there are just 2 of those tags, the first scene and the last scene entry of that one tag. I can also clear this by clearing that and clicking apply, and it should give me, oh, if I update, nope. Okay, that may be something I want to do differently going forward. But in any case, I can clear the database of tags, and I can select the tags based on the date and or time. I can also import a log file. Notice the tooltips here. I can import a log file or a text file, and it brings up a dialog box and says, do you want to import this particular log file? And you can select import, and now that particular log file has been imported into this database. So now I can manipulate it by saying I want all the tags from, let's see, this particular date happens to be 13/06/01, so it would be June 1st of 2013. So I can say, all right, I want all of the tags from 13/06/01 to 13/06/02. Select that, 13/06/02, and I want them from 7/18/07/18/00 to, let's see, what else do I have here? 07/19/00. How's that? All right, and I can filter those out now based on, I can apply that database. So here are all the tags that started at 07/18 and were completed by 07 before 07/19. What you can see here is that there's a number of tags that occurred between a number of first scenes that occurred between 07, 18, 15, or 17, and 1845. So there are a bunch of people that crossed the timing line at that point, roughly 1,000 people. So 500, sorry. That would have, because it's half, because it's the first scene, last scene during that period of time. So that must have been a start time. In any case, you can also see that in this database there is an additional, if I open it up a little bit, there's an additional computer date and time. So not only are you seeing the reader date and time, but you're seeing the computer date and time at which that record was added. So even though this is a tag that's dated of June 1st, it was added to my computer at 2:38 this afternoon. Just for your own reference if you want a different way to search for it. As with the previous version of Dashboard, you had the ability to fix those times. So I could say, all right, the times, I want to add 30 seconds to this, or I want to add a minute. I can add that by simply saying, I want to add a particular length of time. So the event time says it's 7/18/16. I want the new time to say, let's say 17:40, just to make it easy, 00. Okay, so I can change that time. It now adds and changes that time. So it no longer fits the filter. And I can then re-import those times. And those times will, it no longer fits the filter, so I'm not seeing it there. But it has changed that time. I then have the ability to export those times back out to another file. So I can export the file into another TTYS0_1 .log file, for example. Okay? So now I can re-import that file into, notice there's nothing in there because that file is now blank because it was all filtered out. I can now import that back into my scoring software. So if for some reason you forget to correct the date and time, you can add all of the time difference. You can add to your times, add or subtract to your times, fix that in this database, and then export it back out into a valid file. So that's really helpful at times as well. So I can close that. Again, I can do the same thing with the 3 tags that I had here in the light reader. There are 10 entries of these tags. 1, 2, 3. I apparently gave them 4 tags in the light reader instead of 3. I must have. Oh, I had one left over from a previous exercise. In the database, it wasn't in the counter because I can reset this counter independently from clearing this database. So that's why that numbers there are 10 here instead of 8, or 6 as I would have expected. And again, you can filter all these things as before. All right, because I'm recording this from a previous webinar that we did the other day that I forgot to record, I'm not going to open this up to any questions, but now would be a good time to ask any questions if we were going to do that. And so I'm going to move on to the integrated test tag at this point. So I'll give you a brief overview of the integrated test tag. So here's a photo of the new integrated test tag. Fits handily in your hand, comfortably in your hand, and it will read the field strength based on the output power, the transmitter power that's available. So as you move up vertically away from the mat, you'll see that the signal goes up or down. And I will tell you also that there are 2 different types of tags here, the shoe tag and the bib tag, because they have different field strengths both in the reception area as well as in the transmit area. So when the tag's transmitting data, it has a different amount of strength than does the shoe tag based on the size of the antenna, the relative antenna. The bib tag has a much larger antenna than does the shoe tag. So to power up a bib tag takes less transmitter power than to power up a shoe tag. So a shoe tag will have to be closer to the mat than a bib tag will have to be. And you can see that here by the green arrow that says, okay, a bib tag, which is the green one over here, should have at least 1 light lit, 1 or more lights lit to read correctly. So that distance from the mat should be roughly chest high or so, that you should have at least 1 light lit at that point. Likewise, on a shoe tag, you're going to have 8 lights lit at that point, and that should be roughly at knee high or so. Um, and that shoe tag, then if you hold this button down, a shoe tag will both be energized by having enough energy into the 8th, 9th, or 10th LED lit, and by being having an output transmitter power. In other words, it's transmitting its tag ID back to the antenna and into the reader to be read using the relative shoe tag strength. So a couple of key features: simple on-off operation. It times itself out, so when you push a button, it turns itself on, and then over a period of time, it shuts itself off. It has an LED, it has a series of LED indicator lights, shoe tag and bib tag active indicators, and it has a shoe tag and or bib tag button, and it has a test ID built into it. They're unique. The shoe tag ID is listed under the shoe tag button, and the bib tag ID is listed under the bib tag button, so that you can tell in your data storage which one is which when you're reading the tags in your scoring software or on the dashboard. It has a replaceable 9-volt battery in the quiescent state or the standby state. It will typically last 3 to 5 years on a single 9-volt battery. I've not had mine for 3 to 5 years yet, but I can tell you that I've had one for about 6 months now, and I have not replaced the battery yet. So it also includes a handy velvet carrying bag to keep it protected. Those are some of the features available in that. I am going to go back and turn my camera on now and show you the integrated test tag as it comes packed in the box. This is the integrated test tag in its box. You'll notice that there's artwork and graphics on the box. If it shows you how the screen's laid out, much like the picture I just showed you. And also on the back, there are instructions for to give you some idea of how to lay out the tag and how to use that tag in relationship to a map and what the indicators should read, those kinds of things. So be sure and review that. It's rather than packing documentation into it either on a CD or a piece of paper, we actually built the documentation into the box. So I'll open the box carefully here. Attempt to. Sure. Oh, it was a lot easier to open this when I was not on television or on camera here. Take the tag out of the box. You'll notice here's what it looks like in nature. And I am going to turn this around a little bit. I happen to have a mat sitting here on the desk, a little desktop mat. So you can see that mat. You'll notice that the lights are all lit. And as I move up, you'll see the lights going down. Okay, can you see that? As I move farther from the mat, the transmit signal goes down. Okay, so if I give it a shoe tag ID, you can hear that, right? I'm close to a shoe tag here. This isn't going to be typical because it's not an optimized mat. This is just a test mat that we work with. So you can see a bib tag. It works at this height. Notice if I press the shoe tag, it will not work at this height. I have to lower it to get it to work at that at a lower height. That's to be expected. Okay, so that gives you the, I should get a, if this were an optimal mat, I would get a bib tag reading up here. I don't do that, but I can if I go over to this mat over here. It will give me a, yeah, you can't hear it from there, but I have an Elite reader behind me that we could read it with as well. So anyway, that's how you use the integrated test tag. All right, moving right along. I'm going to turn off my camera here, and we can go back to our presentation. Again, I would open it up to Q&A if we were in the Q&A mode, but because I'm recording this, we're not going to do that. But I will tell you, thank you all for participating and listening. Future webinars will be recorded. And our next webinar is August 20th. Again, this is going to be at 12 p.m. Central Time. And we're going to talk about optimizing bib tag performance. I know a number of you are considering using bib tags in either your cross-country or other running events. So we thought it would be a good timely exercise to talk about how to test using the integrated test tag, and also to lay out your mats and readers to get optimal results for the bib tag in your races this fall. So be sure to join us on August 20th at 12 o'clock Central Time, and we'll see you then. Thanks for listening and watching. Take care. Have a nice day.